Good morning, yogis. My name is Sam, and thank you for joining me on the mat today for a Sunrise and Energize class. This class is going to be accessible to all levels of yogis. Take any modifications that you need. This class is not designed for the use or the need of props. So join me on the mat and let's energize and welcome the day with gratitude. We will begin today's class in a Shavasana corpse pose. So reclining yourself, lying back on your mat, as this is the way we begin most of our days. Feet and hands as wide as the mat. Come into a position and a mindset that allows you to feel relaxed. Calming your thoughts, slowing your breath. Begin to reach your hands right overhead and stretch the body, waking up our muscles, providing length and space between our joints, starting to roll out our wrists and our ankles, completing circles. Make sure you can continue to move in either direction. Taking your feet over to the right side of your mat, we're moving into a banana asana. So shaping our body as if it looks like a banana from an aerial view. Our hands also join to the right side of the mat. Here we find a length stretch in the left side body. Option to deepen it by taking the left ankle crossing over the right and taking the right hand and grasping the left wrist. Feel length here and breathe into this space. With your next exhale, release and return to center. Repeating this on the left side. Feet come to the left side of our mat, as do our hands. Option to deepen by crossing the right ankle over the left and taking a reach with the left hand to the right wrist. This time breathing space into the right side body. With your next exhale, release, return to center, keeping the hands overhead. Engage the arms, sliding the shoulder blades down and back. So we're not reaching in a way that compromises our shoulders coming up too tightly to our ears. Keep the shoulders down, keep the arms engaged, and begin to lift your hands, your elbows, the tops of your arms, just ever so slightly at a hover over the ground. Activate the hands, and here we imagine we are holding a ball between our hands. So this is really activation and a wake up to the upper body here. You may feel shaky. If you don't feel like this is much of a workout or much of an activation, just really try to find strength and length. Strength through the hands. The visualization of holding a ball will help you with this. With your next inhale, and this may take a few breaths to get there, we'll move centimeter at a time, bringing the hand package above us, reaching for the sky. So this is a slow movement, very controlled. Breathe into the spaces that may feel vulnerable or shaky, spastic or uncontrolled. These spaces need your attention and your energy. Keep the shoulders down and away. Perhaps slight micro bend in the elbows so there's not a lot of strain on the elbows. And you should be shortly arriving. So your hands are extended over your body, reaching toward the sky. Keeping this level of activation, let's begin to open the hands, open the arms, so that they come out to our sides. Once you've arrived at a hover to the ground, hold and bring the hands now to either side. So we're sliding them down to reach the sides of our mat, keeping them at a hover and rotating the hands so they are in line with our body. Inhale, breath, lift the gaze, lift the shoulders. An option here, if you'd like to really fire up our core, lift the legs so everything is active now. And hold. A few more breaths. And an exhale, we release completely into our mat. Really feel that duality of activation and release. As we start most of our days, this is kind of the energy dualities that we deal with, going from rest to play, rest to feeling active. So we're firing up our body and getting our nervous system used to these sorts of movements. Bring the knees into the chest, lift the gaze, lift the shoulders, and really hug your body toward itself. Option to roll out the low back with small rocks and side to side. Release the head and neck back down to the mat. Take whichever grip you would like here, coming into our happy baby. I like to add in or continue with these small rocks from side to side to massage this low back. And if you are feeling like you'd like a deeper stretch with the legs, there's the option with the movement to straighten one leg at a time, or maybe both. This will kind of help to deepen the stretch while also deepening the massaging that comes from this rolling out, bringing it right into the hips and the glutes. Pressing that low back in this happy baby pose right into the mat, so finding length right from the crown to our tailbone. When you are ready, taking the feet together, rolling onto your side of choice. Remember the side because we will repeat this into a fetal pose. I find fetal pose is a really beautiful posture, often found at the end of a practice, sometimes at the beginning, but it's a great opportunity here to find rest and to feel safe. Resting the head completely on the arm. And your body is in a position where, in feeling safe, perhaps now is the appropriate time to set an intention. Maybe an intention for the day ahead. Perhaps expressing gratitude for your ability to have found the mat this morning. When you are ready, reach the body up to a seated position, a posture that's comfortable, using any use of props to help you to feel at ease. If you'd like, now you can power down the eyes, and we're just going to be moving through some cat-cow variations in this seated pose. So the inhale breath brings us into a cow, where we really find expansion through the chest, slightly lift the gaze, shoulders down and back. And the exhale, we curve the back, navel to spine, and shoulders press forward into our cat pose. Repeat this movement with your cycle of breath at your own pace. We're now beginning to wake up our spine. A very important part of our day. Repeat this for one more cycle. Really compressing the breath with the cat pose and finding expansion through the collarbones with the cow. Find your neutral seated pose. Inhale brings our arms overhead, shoulders down and back. Exhale, right hand down to the mat, finding a lateral stretch. Option here to introduce a few small pulses in this direction. On an inhale, raise the arms overhead. Exhale now, left arm and left hand meets down to the mat. Finding a stretch in the right side body, option for pulses. Inhale, arms overhead. This time, exhale, right hand comes down as a second spine behind us, turning the body into a twist over the right shoulder. Option to take the left hand to the knee, but if that's not in your practice, wherever it feels comfortable, so that you do feel this twist in the spine, use your discretion. With your next exhale, safely unravel out of the twist. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, left hand now comes behind as a second spine as we twist the body over to the left shoulder. Take the gaze right over as far as it can go. It is kind of our focal point in what guides this movement. Exhale, safely unravel, and we're going to roll forward into a tabletop position. Being mindful here to have knees traction with hips over and have our hands in line with our shoulders. On arrival, inhale, we return to those cat-cow movements, following with our pattern of breath with your own pace or any other sorts of movements that you would like, arriving into this posture. Now move your hands ever so slightly forward, so we're not completely in line with the shoulders here. We're creating a little bit of space, and perhaps you may want to widen your grip as well. Press firmly right down into the fingertips. And with our next inhale, as we would create a cow posture, bringing the chest forward, we're going to have a modified chaturanga push-up. So bring the chest right down to curve the back into a cat back. Repeating this a few more times. Inhale brings the chest down, pressing into the mat. Exhale, push all the way up, back curves, navel presses in. One more time, and remember to magnetize your elbows to the side. And push back into a cat, really round the back. Find a neutral position here, tuck the toes, press back, modified child's pose. Forehead comes right down to the mat. We're only here for a short while. Inhale, lift the gaze. With the toes tucked, we pounce to plank and hold. Pressing through those fingertips, pressing through the toes, find length from crown to root. One long line of energy from the top of your head all the way to the bottom of your heels, shooting out. Now with an inhale, listen carefully. Our right foot comes up to meet the outside of the right hand. And when you are ready, left foot comes up to the outside of the left hand. Settle into the posture. We come into a yogi squat here. You may need to shorten your stance. The important part with this exercise is we are not collapsing into our yogi squat. We feel engagement through the full surface of our feet that allows us to hover and feel light. Hold here. My hands are at prayer center, but wherever your hands are, meet them with me right now with an open stance. So I have them on the insides of my legs, palms facing forward. With an inhale breath, press through the feet, activate the core, pelvic floor. Inhale to rise. Arms come all the way overhead, meet at prayer center, and slide down the center body, returning to yogi squat. Repeating this 2 more times. Inhale, activation and control. Hands come to hands, heart center. We slide the body down. as if there's a wall behind me. I really want to press forward so we can open and inhale. Exhale, return to yogi squat. Now you can take the feet, which are likely at a widened stance for our squat, forward. Press the hands into the mat and straighten the legs into a forward fold and really fold the body down here. If this is our first fold of the day, you may find I, for example, have very tight hamstrings. So be easy on yourself. Take a deep bend into the knees. I like to grasp each elbow with my hands and just really hang, really ragdoll here. Straighten the legs, come into a more active fold, and inhale to a halfway lift, flat back, strong core. Option to have your hands resting on your legs to find extension. Exhale to fold. Let's come into a sunrise stretch, taking the hands as what's initiating this movement, but really it comes from the core. So we have a strong stability, but the hands are what create direction. So on an inhale, our hands come out to the side and we're creating these really large circles where we reach all the way up to the sky and come down the left into our fold. Repeating this 2 more times, inhaling to the right, exhaling to the left. Inhaling to the right, feeling activation in the obliques. Exhale to left. Pause in your forward fold. Take the gaze to the navel. Weight pours into the tips of the toes. Inhale, halfway lift, strong core, flat back. Exhale to fold as we take this to the left side. Inhale to the left. Reach the arms overhead. Exhale to the right. Inhale to the left. Exhale to the right. One more time. Inhale to the left. Exhale to the right. And we back into our fold. Inhale, halfway lift. This time, exhale, the right foot steps back into a high lunge position. So the left foot is firmly rooted into the mat. Left knee is completely bent. Back leg is straight. Heel is lifted. Hands are still at the mat, framing that left foot. Activate the core, lift the pelvic floor, and inhale the arms overhead, but we're not coming up yet. This is a humble high lunge. Feel strength here. Hold. And with an inhale, rise the body up. Coming into our high lunge. Taking the hands overhead wherever you'd like them. On an inhale, straightening that front leg. And coming forward to the long side of your mat. So for a moment here, I'm facing away from the camera. Both of my feet are in line with the long side of our mat. And now I'm rotating that right foot, pivoting the back leg now. Left heel is lifted. If your hands are in any sort of a bind, perhaps release. And now we exhale slowly. This is a high lunge on the opposite side. With control, slowly down to a humble high lunge. And hold. Release the hands to frame that right foot. Step back into a high plank. Feel strength and length. Exhale the knees down to the mat. Exhale the chin and chest into our mat. Beginning of the practice. And down to a child's pose. Forehead to mat. Lift the gaze, and when you are ready, whichever is the opposite side of the fetal pose that we chose to take at the beginning of our practice, I want you to now roll on to that side. So for me, my fetal pose started on the left. I'm now in the right side. Taking a moment here to come back to the intention for the day. Whatever intention you had in this practice, or perhaps just a moment of gratitude for what our body is able to do. When you are ready, turn over onto your back. There is the option here to come directly into Shavasana. If there are any poses that your body is calling for you to do, by all means. Or if you feel today that Shavasana is not in your practice, that is all right as well. I am always an advocate of Shavasana because it really allows a moment of active relaxation to really cement and integrate the movement and find that dual quality of active and rest. And so if you'd like to take a Shavasana at this time, I will create enough length in my video for you to do so. Arms and feet are perhaps as long or as wide as the mat, palms lifted or facing upward. Breathe into the space. Remembering this is an active relaxation, which may seem counterintuitive, but essentially we activate our mind in a way that allows it to stay focused on the practice, so it won't begin to run away with what the day has ahead in store for us. We're giving awareness and acknowledgement that our body is valued, and in so that our body deserves both counterparts of activity and rest. When you feel ready, introduce small movements to your fingers and toes, waking the body, rolling out the ankles and the wrists, just as we started this practice today with. However you'd like to get there, meet me back into a seated posture. I thank you for joining me on the mat today, yogis. The sun behind me has risen, so I hope you feel energized. I hope to see you next time. Thank you.